Remove every shark from the ocean right now, and within 50 years, the ocean, as we know it, is gone. Not damaged, not struggling, gone. No coral reefs, no balanced fish populations, no seagrass. And here is the part that should stop you cold, less oxygen in the air above it. Most people think sharks are just predators, dangerous animals at the top of the food chain. Remove them, and everything below gets safer and more abundant. That logic is completely backwards, and the science proving it will change how you see every ocean documentary you have ever watched. Stay with me, because by the end of this you will understand why the most feared animal in the ocean is also the most important one in it. Sharks have been in the ocean for 450 million years, not as passengers, as architects. The entire ocean ecosystem built itself around their presence. Every coral reef, every seagrass meadow, every fish population on Earth evolved with sharks already there, already hunting, already keeping the balance. Remove them, and you are not simplifying the system. You are pulling the keystone out of an arch that took 450 million years to build. The first thing sharks do is control what their prey eats, not just how many prey animals exist, what those animals do, where they go, how they behave. Tiger sharks hunt sea turtles. When tiger sharks are present in an area, sea turtles avoid open seagrass meadows, because open water is where tiger sharks hunt. This forces turtles to graze in small patches and keep moving, which gives seagrass time to recover. The grass grows back. The meadow stays healthy. Scientists studying this in Shark Bay, Australia, found seagrass coverage was dramatically higher in areas where tiger sharks actively patrolled compared to areas where they were absent. The sharks were not touching the seagrass. They were not eating the turtles constantly. Their mere presence was enough. Fear alone kept the ecosystem in balance. This is called the landscape of fear. Prey animals change their entire behavior based on where predators might be. The predator does not have to be everywhere. It just has to exist. Remove the tiger shark, and the fear disappears. Turtles graze freely across entire seagrass meadows without stopping. The grass gets stripped down to bare seafloor. And seagrass meadows are not just underwater grass. They absorb carbon dioxide at rates comparable to entire forests on land. One of the most powerful carbon sinks on the planet. Destroy the seagrass, and you lose a critical weapon against climate change. All because the tiger shark is no longer in the water, keeping turtles moving. The same dynamic plays out on coral reefs. Reef sharks control the fish that graze on coral. Without reef sharks, those fish populations surge and consume coral faster than it can grow back. Coral reefs support 25% of all marine species on Earth, despite covering less than 1% of the ocean floor, a quarter of all ocean life in 1% of the space. Without sharks, the fish that eat coral run unchecked. The reef dies from the inside. 25% of ocean life loses its home simultaneously. The cascade does not stop there. Dead reefs mean collapsed fish nurseries. Collapsed fish nurseries mean declining populations of every species that use those reefs to breed and shelter. The collapse multiplies itself. But sharks do not just control the behavior of their prey. They control the health of entire populations through something most people never think about. Sharks are the ocean's immune system. They specifically and consistently target the weakest animals in any population. The slow, the sick, the injured. Every time a shark removes a sick fish from a population, it prevents that fish from spreading disease to healthy animals around it. The population stays strong, genetically resilient, disease-resistant. Remove sharks, and sick fish survive. They reproduce. They pass weakness and disease through populations that have nothing filtering it out. Over generations, the fish get weaker. The commercial fish stocks that feed billions of people are partly sustained by the health filtering that sharks have been performing in those waters for millions of years. And it goes even deeper than that. Sharks are nutrient transporters. They do not stay in one place. They migrate thousands of miles across ocean basins. As they move, they carry nutrients absorbed from feeding in one region and release them through waste in another, effectively fertilizing entire sections of ocean that would otherwise be nutrient poor. These nutrients feed phytoplankton, The microscopic organisms living at the ocean surface that produce more than 50% of the oxygen in the atmosphere right now. The air you are breathing as you watch this is partially the product of a nutrient cycle that has sharks moving through it. That is not a metaphor. That is the actual biology. Sharks also perform vertical migrations, moving from deep, cold, nutrient-rich water to the warmer surface, mixing the water column, bringing deep nutrients up into the light where phytoplankton needs them. Without sharks, this vertical mixing becomes less efficient. Phytoplankton productivity drops. Oxygen production drops. The atmosphere changes from the behavior of one animal in the ocean. And on coral reefs, sharks play a role nobody expected until scientists actually measured it. Reef sharks feed in offshore waters and bring those nutrients back to the reef when they return. A single reef shark carries significant quantities of nitrogen and phosphorus from offshore hunting grounds back into the reef ecosystem, fertilizing the coral, sustaining the whole system. Researchers estimated that reef systems with healthy shark populations receive substantially more nutrients from shark activity than reef systems where sharks have been removed by fishing. Reefs without sharks are not just ecologically unbalanced, they are nutritionally starved. The sharks were feeding the reef itself, and nobody realized it until they were gone. And there is one more role sharks play that sounds almost too strange to be real. In some reef systems, sharks serve as cleaning stations. Smaller fish approach large sharks and remove parasites from their skin. The shark stays still. The fish feeds. Both benefit. Remove the shark, and that relationship disappears. The fish that depended on it lose a food source. Everything in the ocean connects to everything else. Sharks are the thread running through more of those connections than any other animal in the sea. Now here's the part of this story that should make every person watching this genuinely uncomfortable. Since 1970, the global population of oceanic sharks has collapsed by 71%. Not declined, collapsed. Nearly 3/4 of all oceanic sharks gone in 50 years. Populations of the top 5 reef shark species have declined by 63% in 50 years. Sharks that took millions of years to reach those population levels reduced by more than half in a single human lifetime. 100 million sharks are killed by humans every year. Overfishing, finning, bycatch, 100 million every single year. Without pause, without significant reduction. Finning is exactly what it sounds like. Sharks caught, fins sliced off while still alive, body thrown back into the water. The shark sinks, drowns, dies on the ocean floor for a bowl of soup, and sharks cannot recover from this the way fish can. A female great white does not reproduce until she is around 33 years old. Small litters, long gaps between births. Hit a shark population hard enough, and it does not bounce back in years. It takes decades. Some populations may never recover at all. The damage compounds faster than the biology can answer it. 1/3 of all shark and ray species are currently classified as threatened with extinction. Not declining, threatened with extinction. Right now, we already have evidence of what happens when sharks disappear from a region. It is not theoretical. It has already happened in places where overfishing removed them. In regions where shark populations have collapsed, reef health has measurably declined. Algae overgrows coral. Fish populations destabilize. The cascade the science predicted plays out exactly as described. In the Northwest Atlantic, where large shark species were heavily fished, the cownose ray population exploded. The rays consumed shellfish beds that had sustained fishing communities for generations. Industries that operated for over a century collapsed permanently. One region, one group of shark species, one collapsed fishery worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Gone, because the animal keeping the balance was removed. Now multiply that across every ocean basin on Earth simultaneously, and you begin to understand what a world without sharks actually looks like. It does not look like a safer ocean. It looks like an ocean in slow, permanent freefall. Reefs dying, fish populations weakening, seagrass disappearing, carbon entering the atmosphere, with nothing to stop it, and billions of people losing the food source they depend on while the oxygen they breathe becomes slightly but measurably less abundant over generations. All connected, all traceable. all leading back to the same animal, sitting at the top of the chain holding everything underneath it in place. The shark does not know it is doing any of this. It is not trying to save the ocean. It is just doing what 450 million years of evolution built it to do. Hunt, move, exist. But the ocean built itself around that hunting, around that movement, around that existence. And when it stops, the ocean does not adapt smoothly. It destabilizes from the top down. Here is what makes this story different from most conservation stories. This is not about saving a beautiful animal, because it is beautiful. This is about physics, about chemistry, about systems. The ocean is a machine. Sharks are one of its most critical moving parts. You do not need to love sharks to understand why removing them breaks the machine. You just need to understand that 50% of the oxygen you breathe comes from the ocean, and the ocean needs sharks to function the way it has for 450 million years. That is the real shark story. Not the attacks, not the teeth, not the fear. The story is that this animal is keeping the planet breathable, and most people are still afraid of it instead of fighting for it. 100 million sharks killed per year, 1/3 of species threatened with extinction, and the ocean already showing exactly what happens when they disappear from a region. The experiment is already running. The results are already coming in, and the window to change the outcome is not unlimited. Sharks survived 5 mass extinctions, asteroids, ice ages, volcanic winters. They outlasted the dinosaurs by 66 million years, and are still here. The only extinction event they may not survive is the one we are running right now, quietly, consistently, at 100 million animals per year. And if that extinction happens, the ocean does not replace what sharks did. There is no other animal ready to step into that role. The slot stays empty. The system stays broken. The ocean built itself around sharks, not because they are impressive, because they are necessary. There is a difference, and that difference is everything. You now know what most people watching shark documentaries never get told. The fears pointed in exactly the wrong direction. The world should not be afraid of sharks. The world should be afraid of an ocean without them, because that ocean is already beginning to appear in the places we removed them first. If this changed how you see sharks, share it with someone who still thinks they are just dangerous animals. The ocean would be better without. And subscribe, because this story is far from over.